I'm in our fabrication space surrounded by some really fancy machines. And I'm going to show you though a very basic machine. And that is our handbrake testing rig, where we look at testing electric park brakes. And in this case, an electric park brake from a VF Commodore. Commodore being, one of the most popular cars in Australian history. And in the very last few generations, had a really compact, awesome electric park brake actuator. So anyway, back to our basic machine. A big hunk of metal bolted to the bench with some brackets welded onto it, a pneumatic actuator puller attached to a freshly swaged handbrake cable, and on the other end of that, a crane scale, which can show us not weight, but, well, essentially weight, but the weight that we are pulling against, because that's the key thing. How much weight can this consistently pull against? And the great thing about an electric one is it will always pull to that weight rather than an amount of cable by length. That makes sense. So we'll get this mounted up and have this end connected to the crane scale, and we'll be able to see how well that thing performs. So through the magic of the internet, I'll snap my fingers. So here we are with it all assembled and in a different part of the workshop magically, but the Holden park brake system onto this little test rig with the cable in this slot so we can see it pull in and out. So if I were to push on the actuator, probably the best video on the internet, a little cable moving. But the important thing is that all works. We're seeing the CAN bus messages. So this basically, we've got the trigger to actuate it, but it sends out a bunch of stuff that we can then take and use on our digital display to say that the handbrake is on, or there may be a fault in the handbrake mechanism if that were to ever occur. But essentially super good value part, because these aren't really being used for much else. Super reliable and easy to package because it's quite small, and importantly pulls about 100 kilos of force, which is exactly what we want. Some of the other commercially available EPBs just pull too much. 260 kilos, that's going to break a cable. It's way too much, particularly for the moke that this will be going into.